you're not crazy. You're just talking to yourself all day. On the way to work, in the shower, before sleep. Instead of sleep, you replay old conversations. You rehearse future arguments. You explain things to people who aren't even there. Sometimes it feels deep. Sometimes it feels pointless. And sometimes you think, why can't my brain just shut up for a second? So what is this constant inner talking? And why does it never seem to stop? Part 1. The narrator in your head. Your brain doesn't just see the world, it explains it to you. This person looked at me weird. He probably thinks I'm awkward. This message has no emoji. She's definitely mad. It's like a 24/7 podcast, hosted by you. But here's the twist. The voice you hear is not pure reality. It's a mix of memory, prediction, and old beliefs. Your brain is constantly asking, what does this mean for me? That question builds the narration. Sentence by sentence, part 2. Simulations, not just thoughts. You don't only think. You simulate. You imagine what might happen. You replay what already happened. Your brain runs tiny what-if movies all day long. What if I say this? What if they say that? It's not your brain being dramatic. It's your brain trying to predict danger. In the past, this helped you survive. Better to overthink the rustle in the bushes than ignore the tiger. Now, there are fewer tigers, but the simulation system stayed. So your brain uses it on text messages, meetings, dates, and awkward handshakes.
This is so awkward.
The voice in your head is your internal prediction engine speaking out loud. Part 3. Who are you talking to? Here's something strange. Most of the time, you're not just talking to yourself. You're talking to an imaginary parent, an ex, a future boss, or a vague audience in your head. You explain, you defend, you justify, as if someone is constantly judging every move you make. Where does this come from? Your brain learned pretty early that acceptance means safety. So it built an internal audience to keep you in check. Don't say that. They'll laugh. Don't be too much. Sometimes this voice protects you. Sometimes it just exhausts you. Part 4. When it becomes too loud. Talking to yourself is not the problem. The tone is... There's a difference between what went wrong and what's wrong with me. The first one is curiosity. The second one is attack. The more your inner voice attacks, the less safe you feel inside your own head. And when you don't feel safe inside is less than #0. 9 hash is greater than you look for safety outside. More noise, more scrolling, more distraction. Anything but being alone. With that running commentary, that's why silence can feel scary. It's when the volume goes up. Part 5. Why you can't just turn it off. You don't control thoughts like a light switch. You influence them like a climate. If you say, stop thinking about this, your brain hears, this is important. Watch it closely. So it brings the thought back louder. Not to torture you, to keep you safe. Your brain doesn't know you're trying to relax. It only sees repetition. And repetition means this must matter. So the more you fight the thought, the more energy you secretly feed it. That's why just stop overthinking almost never works.
Why?
Part 6. Changing the conversation. Here's the important shift. You don't have to kill the voice. You can change its role. Right now, it's probably a very anxious narrator. What if this goes wrong? Why did you say that? What if instead it became a curious guide? Okay, that was awkward. What did we learn? Okay, this is scary. What might actually help? Same brain, different tone. You don't control the first thought. You have more influence on the second sentence. Part 7. Adding other channels. Your inner voice is loud, partly because it's alone on stage. There are other channels available. Body, breath, senses. But they're quiet. And thought is very good with a microphone. So it helps to do small, almost boring things. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice 5 things you can see. Name 3 things you can hear. Put one hand on your chest as you breathe. You're not turning off thoughts. You're inviting other channels into the room. The narration keeps talking, but it stops being the only sound. Final part. You're not broken for thinking. You talk to yourself in your head because your brain is trying to help. Predict, protect, prepare. Sometimes it overshoots. Sometimes it becomes a full-time critic. But that doesn't mean you're broken. It means the narrator needs new instructions. You don't have to believe every line it says. You don't have to fight every line it says. You can start smaller. Notice the pattern. Oh, this is the overthinking channel again. Notice the tone. Okay, that was harsh. And then add one gentle sentence on top. I see what you're worried about. Let's figure this out slowly. The voice stays. The thoughts keep coming. But now, you're not just inside the story. You're also the one who can change how it's told.